Hi, everyone, and welcome to Black Spring with Autumn. And it is Christmas Eve. I'd like to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season, a Merry Christmas, and also I'd like to get into something that I'm sure by now you've heard the buzz, and it's regarding the one, the only impeachment of President Donald J. Trump. Okay, so the question here that keeps coming up, I've heard it across the media, I've seen it in a few other communities, and the question keeps coming up, is President Donald J. Trump actually impeached at this point? Well, according to some sources, some say that no, he is not impeached until the actual articles of impeachment, which at this point, at this time, are still one, abuse of power, and then two, obstruction of Congress, I believe. Who knows, to spin the bottle, see where you land. But what I want to get to is a point that I want to weigh in on two specific opinions here. So one opinion actually comes from the prestigious Noah Feldman. Now, if you're not familiar with Noah Feldman actually was selected as one of the constitutional scholars during the impeachment hearing. And he actually served as a witness. Go figure. Served as a witness and did many interpretations on the founders' intent, the founders' concerns, or the founders trying to circumvent types of corruptions, abuse of power. At that time, we were dealing with bribery, high crimes and misdemeanors. We dealt with so many terms, but this article actually came from a liberal source. It came from the New York Post. This is actually entitled, "Trump may not be impeached if Pelosi declines to send articles to Senate." Now, this is the Harvard professor, Noah Feldman. Okay, so Professor Noah Feldman, his argument is that the Constitution, quote, "the Constitution does not say how fast the articles must go to the Senate. Some modest delay is not inconsistent with the Constitution or how both chambers usually work." Okay, but that he wasn't done there. It goes on to talk about that he added the Speaker has to eventually forward these articles to the Senate for the proceedings to be legitimate. I'll continue with the quote here, and some paraphrasing at times. But he also added that both parts are necessary to make an impeachment under the Constitution. The House must actually send the articles and send managers to the Senate to prosecute the impeachment, and the Senate must actually hold a trial, end quote, he continued. Okay, and then so we can keep going on here with the start of another quote. He says, quote, "If the House does not communicate its impeachment to the Senate, it hasn't actually impeached the president. If the articles are not transmitted, Trump could legitimately say he wasn't truly impeached at all." So here we go. We've got Noah Feldman weighing in on, I guess, what would be, maybe like a constitutional, the risk of her not submitting the articles and what the Constitution actually says. Now, this is his interpretation. Now, I will say for the second part of what I'm offering today, I did, however, I've heard an interview with Sheila Jackson Lee, the one that says she held an AR-15 in her hand. It was as heavy as 10 boxes and that she regretted that she held it. Well, according to Sheila Jackson Lee, I'm paraphrasing, she says that it is her belief that Trump is impeached. Now, in this country, in this society, the word believe suggests that it's an opinion. And for two, that this is what she accepts as Donald Trump's impeachment, which is a very individual interpretation of what has happened and the status of the actual impeachment at this time, which I find very interesting. So this speaks to what many people, what many of the pundits, and what many of the critics and many of the political analysts are trying to figure out. What is her aim and her gain in holding on to these articles of impeachment? Not to mention, there's been a new buzz that the Democrats are potentially may seek other articles of impeachment due to hearing witnesses that maybe have not been heard, or they're looking for something. They're looking for something all of the time. Now, the American people at this point, I'm sure we all have our opinions by now, or many of us are. Not only are we sick of it, we're sick of the corruption, we're sick of the games, we're sick of potentially rhinos. I mean, the patriots in this country are getting really, really fed up with the delay in justice. We've seen, we've always been civically disobedient, but I think we want to see something. We want to see something happen in this trial that's going to put this impeachment to bed, or best case scenario, I would defer to the Professor Noah Feldman that President Trump wasn't impeached at all, which would not hurt him in the 2020 election. Perhaps the whole point was to mar President Trump with this whole process, that they weren't really confident what they were bringing forward in the first place, but they just have to do something. They have to strategize. Their campaign is impeachment. Sprinkle a little USMCA on it, and that's their campaign strategy, because the candidates that they have right now are not electable. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think President Trump is officially impeached without these articles being submitted? Or do you think he's officially impeached? I'd love to know what you think in the comments, or if you you can subscribe, or you can share. And of course, I'll see you next time here on Black Spring with Autumn. Have a great holiday season.